Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Fire Red with only one Shroomish was a pretty unique solo run. Let's follow that up with another Pokemon with a unique moveset. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Platinum with a team of only one Mr Mime? Alright, so Mr Mime is a solo Psychic type since Fairy didn't exist yet in Gen 4. We've got low health, attack, and defense, but our speed, special attack, and special defense are all pretty great. Where Mr Mime is really interesting is the level up moves. So we only start with the last 4 moves that we can learn at our starting level. So in this case, that's Copycat, Confusion, Barrier, and Guard Swap. As you can see from our level up move list, there's quite a lot of interesting support moves, so Mr. Mime really is not meant to be used solo like this. But considering that we start with Barrier to fix up our bad defense quickly, I think that we can make this work. By TM, we have this incredibly long list of moves that we can learn, although I'm only really interested in the ones that use our special. Our attack is pretty terrible after all. Still, some of these moves could be great. Shadow Ball and Focus Energy both stand out as great ones. I like Thunderbolt a lot too. The biggest problem is just that I'm gonna have to hold on to some of my level up moves like Barrier and Substitute for a long time, so I'm not gonna get quite as much type coverage. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I figure the first few gyms should be pretty easy with a Psychic type, but Cyrus is gonna be an absolute nightmare. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Mr. Mime. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Turtwig with Mr. Mime so that we can do the whole run with it. I actually meant to replace Chimchar so I'd fight Empoleon, but I probably messed it up. It's alright, it'll hardly matter by the end of the run. I kinda think the rival's gonna be easy either way. Our nature is quiet, so more special attack and less speed. We're already a pretty fast Pokemon, so I think that's okay. Our ability is soundproof, so sound-based attacks won't work on us. That's actually a surprisingly large amount of common moves that we're gonna be immune to. I name him Mimean, after the greatest of all time. So early game travel is pretty easy. There aren't any dark types super early on to stall us out, and our stats are pretty good for this early in the game. Confusion is hitting pretty hard so far, and by level 25, we'll have Psybeam to be hitting even harder. I figure that these moves will be enough to get us some easy wins at the first few gyms, but I could see the early Team Galactic fights being really brutal. They use dark types, so I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and learn Return early, probably before our friendship is even maxed out. I know Return is normally a pretty strong move, but we're not at all a physical attacker, so I'm not expecting to do much with it. Oh, and I also did the lottery thing for the first time ever, and actually won 4th place. It's just an Ultra Ball, so it doesn't really matter, but it was kinda cool. Alright, first up is our rival, but naturally it was just super easy, no problems at all. The Rock Gym should be easy too, right? Yeah, super easy. Thanks to confusing Cranidos and it hitting itself, we never took a hit the entire fight. I mean, I knew that it would be easy, but I didn't think it would be that easy. I mean, if Cranidos hit, it would still hit pretty hard. That means that we're on the road again, but I think things are about to become a lot more difficult. We have the fight with Commander Mars coming up, and she has a decent dark type on her team. We have Double Slap now, but we're awful with it, so I'm gonna have to learn Return. I figured that we might want to use Barrier before Purugly comes out to build up our defense, but that would mean using Barrier against Zubat. It's probably going to hit us with Toxic if I do that. Maybe I'll just try the fight a few times without Barrier first and see how it goes. Well, I kind of saw this coming. Zubat was of course a one-shot, but even with Return, we did nearly no damage to Purugly. Not only that, but she has Fake Out to make us flinch on the first turn, and she's faster than us. We didn't even come close to surviving. At least both Fake Out and Feint Attack are physical, so Barrier could help. I'll get a couple of levels, hold a Berry to cure Poison so that I can build up some defense on Zubat if I need to, and then try again. We're back 3 levels later. So the Barrier strategy was a good move since we're now taking about half as much damage as before, but between us doing almost nothing with Return and her having a Berry to heal with, we still only get her to about half health by the time we go down. Well, in this game, Toxic is an 85 accuracy move, so maybe I can just try until it misses so I can get 2 barriers in. Well, in the very next try, Zubat used Bite on the first turn instead of Toxic, so we got 2 barriers in. It helped a ton, and we got Purugly down with low enough health that we could win in 1 or 2 more hits, but we still just fainted. Okay, I'm gonna need a few more levels for sure. Alright, level 23. After 4 tries where we lost to getting critically hit, we had this run where we finally got the win. The funny thing is, Zubat completely stopped using Toxic in all of my level 23 attempts. She just uses Bite every turn. That let us get 3 barriers in pretty easily, and it turns out that we needed it because we still came very close to losing the fight by the end. That was a wild fight. Well, that means we're on the road again, and I'm not really sure how the next part of the run is gonna go. We're about to learn Psybeam, so I figure that we can make short work of the grass gym, but after that is the Galactic Hideout and yet another Galactic admin fight where no doubt we're gonna have some troubles. Maybe Barrier will save us better in that fight? Who knows? But then after that is the Ghost Gym, and that could be its own nightmare. I'm not sure how hard they're gonna hit us. You know, ghost moves. Let's make short work of the grass gym. Alright, as expected, the grass gym was pretty easy. I used Barrier early on for safety, but it didn't end up mattering. The only thing we got hit by was Leech Seed, and we were taking her out so fast that it didn't end up being a problem. Alright, we're in the Galactic Hideout. Now I've got a Soothe Bell, so our friendship is raising quickly. I'm holding a hope that this is going to squeeze a little bit more damage out against Commander Jupiter, but who knows? I have a vague memory that tells me that Skuntank has Shadow Claw, and I'm pretty sure that's a high crit move, so there's a chance that we'll lose even with Barrier, but you never know. Maybe we'll absolutely rock the fight and it'll be no issue, or she'll use a move worth using Copycat on. I really doubt I'm gonna get any use out of Copycat, but hey, maybe. Alright, so I was wrong in that Skuntank doesn't have Shadow Claw, but it's because she has Night Slash, a more dangerous move considering it's got the same type attack bonus. I got my 3 barriers against Zubat, but we're still just 1 hit away from winning the fight by the end. We really don't do much damage with her turn. I'll go clear out some trainers outside and come back. Okay, 2 levels later, and this time we have Substitute, so I just went ahead and got my barrier and used it, just to lose our Substitute super early thanks to a crit. It's okay, we ended up winning just because she used Poison Gas twice. For no reason? Well, thanks, that helped a lot. Okay, well that means we have the Ghost Gym and a rival fight coming up. I'm not really sure how that rival fight is gonna go. I don't really know what to expect, but I know that the Ghost Gym probably won't be easy. Shadow Claw is gonna hurt us a lot, considering that's a physical move, so I'm probably gonna have to use Barrier. I'm just thankful that I have Substitute, because I know Duskull usually opens with Will-O-Wisp, and I really don't want to get burned. I don't care about having our attack cut from the burn, but I do very much care about the damage over time. Wish me luck. Okay, so this took several tries because on the first 2, Duskull crit us, and on the next 2, we got burned right away. But on this one, I was able to use Barrier, then Substitute. Now, the fight actually ended up being pretty easy when I don't get crit, go figure. Maybe we could have lost without Barrier, but I still think we probably would have survived. How's my rival fight gonna go? Well, it was pretty easy. I was able to get 3 barriers right at the very start, but it didn't really matter in the end since we just ended up sweeping them. We even got our health back thanks to the Shell Bell, so that was kinda cool. Alright, normally this is around where I'd get new TMs for better moves, but most of the stuff I want costs a fortune, and it's free if I get it a little bit later, so I'm just gonna wait. You know, stuff like Thunderbolt or Psychic. We get Psychic by level up pretty soon anyway. So we've got the Fighting Gym, another rival fight, and the Water Gym. The Fighting Gym is probably going to be pretty easy, and the rival probably will be too, but I could see the Water Gym being hard. His Pokemon are just a little tanky, and Waterfall is a physical move, so I know I'm going to want to use Barrier in that fight. Really, what I'm dreading is the Steel Gym, but that's a ways off. Let's go ahead and do a little boss rush and see how things turn out. Well, the Fighting Gym was even easier than expected thanks to learning Psychic by level up by the time we got to the Gym Leader. Lucario was faster than us, so we did take some damage, but it was nothing too serious. The rival before the Water Gym was easy too, yet another sweep. I'm really surprised. I know Psychic is a strong move, but we swept his team again. This has got to stop being a sweep pretty soon, right? Okay, so the first try at the Water Gym, and I used Psychic, and although we hit kind of hard, both Water Onix and Floatzel have dark moves, so we just go down in 2 hits. Well, that's not happening. Let's try again with Barrier. So I tried the fight a couple more times. We actually lost whenever I'd use 3 barriers because our health would be low enough that Brine would deal double damage, so Floatzel could just beat us with it. But weirdly enough, on runs where I used 1 barrier, we recovered enough health from Psychic that Floatzel would use Crunch instead, letting us one-shot him. Quagsire at the end could hardly hurt us, so we got the win. Okay, that means we're traveling, and I think things are about to get harder. We have a Cyrus fight that tends to be easy, a rival fight that tends to be pretty hard, and then the Steel Gym. Normally we don't have a whole lot of trouble with the Steel Gym, but Steel resists both Psychic and Normal, so we don't have anything that they don't resist. If we really wanted to, we could learn something like Brick Break or Drain Punch, but they're both physical, so I really doubt it's going to be worth it. Maybe Focus Blast would be worth learning though. It's pretty inaccurate, but at least it uses our special stat. I don't know what I'd replace though. I quite like our moves, and we don't have reusable TMs like in Gen 5. Let's just fight our way there and see how it goes. Wow, this is a bad sign. Normally the first Cyrus fight is basically a free fight, but we actually fainted. He's got 2 different dark types, and we weren't hitting all that hard outside of one lucky crit. Murkrow especially did a lot of damage. Maybe with Barrier I could survive? Okay, so I tried a couple of times with 3 barriers. It helps a ton, but we still nearly faint thanks to Murkrow having Nightshade. If we were even a few levels lower, then I think Golbat would have been faster than us, and we'd have fainted by the end. I could see Cyrus at the top of Mount Cornet being one of the hardest fights in the game. After that is the usually hard rival fight on the bridge, but once again, we swept his team. I kept thinking I'll need Barrier just to realize he's a sweep. I figure there's no way that we survive the next fight without Barrier though. So I tried the Steel Gym a few times and quickly ran into an unexpected issue. Bastiodon has Metal Burst, a move I never normally have to worry about, but it bypasses our defense increases from Barrier and just does damage based on how much we dealt in our previous attack. Because of that, we just lose pretty easily every time. I want to point out that there were 2 different trainers in this gym that took me quite a few tries to actually get past thanks to how little damage we deal to Steel types. That and Scissor had X-Scissor, and that was monstrous. I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and replace Substitute with Focus Blast. It's not like I'm using Substitute all that much anyway. Okay, just learning that move made the whole fight a sweep. I mean, it's a 120 power special move, so I knew it was gonna hit hard, but that's even harder than I was expecting. Hey, maybe this is gonna be what saves us against Cyrus. Alright, so we're traveling and there's a lot to do. I have to do a bunch of easy commander fights. You'd think they'd be worth showing when they were hard when I fought them in the early game, but now that Return does decent damage and we have a strong fighting move, it's really not a problem anymore. What will be a problem is the next few fights. We have an Ice Gym that could be really easy or hard, depending on if Focus Blast decides to hit. Then we have some Cyrus fights that I am really unsure of. Maybe they'll go fine, but maybe his team will be faster than us and totally demolish us with dark moves. Focus Blast is strong, but it's not very accurate, so missing could be very costly. I'm pretty 50-50 on if it's gonna work out, but let's just try the Ice Gym first and see how that goes. So we actually lost at the Ice Gym the first 3 times thanks to either missing due to double team, getting totally messed up by Shadow Ball, or missing a Focus Blast. It was obvious from the start that I could win if I just hit my moves though, so it only took a few tries to win with Focus Blast. It's crazy how much damage we take from physical moves if we don't use Barrier. Alright, we've got the hard part coming up. We have a Cyrus fight at the Galactic Hideout, we have that wild double battle on the top of the mountain where our partner is useless, then we have a much harder Cyrus fight. Maybe the first Cyrus fight will be easy because we have Focus Blast now, but the second one I predict will be a nightmare where I have to level up a ton. If we can make it past that fight, then we have an Electric Gym that I don't think is going to be too brutal, but I'm really not looking forward to the Cyrus fight. I mean, there's 2 reasons why I'm not looking forward to it, but you'll know the other reasons soon. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so at the first Cyrus fight, we had this really weird attempt where Sneasel used a move we're immune to, we missed Focus Blast, then he switched to Crobat. It was easy to take out, but then Honchkrow came out. We couldn't hurt it that much, and it totally destroyed us with Feint Attack and Drill Peck. Well, that's definitely not good. Maybe if I use Barrier first? So I made an entire 10 miserable attempts after this, where every single time, Sneasel never used Screech. I have no idea why, considering it did that one time, but it just won't now, so we always take more damage. By far the most frustrating part is that we could clearly 2-shot Honchkrow if we just hit twice with Focus Blast, but we didn't even a single time, and thanks to him having Nightshade, he can still take us out pretty fast. I would go get a lens to increase our accuracy, but I think we actually need the healing from the Shell Bell. I just have to keep trying. Okay, literally the next try, and we finally hit twice, taking it out. Crobat right after nearly makes us faint because our health is so low, but Barrier saved us. There's absolutely a 0% chance I win the next Cyrus fight without a ton of levels, though. Now, like always, the double battle took a while because my partner isn't great, but we never really were in any danger of this being anything but a slow fight. We lucked out and Munchlax fainted early. Yes, our partner's Pokemon fainting early is us being lucky, so our rival sent in Infernape, a Pokemon that he is slightly more competent with. We won without much problem. Now, normally I'd be going right into the Cyrus fight, but remember how I said there is 2 reasons why I'm dreading this? Oh, one is that the fight will be hard. The other one is that I actually forgot to use the option in the randomizer that lets you skip the distortion world. It's way too late to go back and change that now, so I just have to bite the bullet and do it. It only took me like 5 minutes or something with speed up, but trust me when I say, it feels a lot longer than that. The distortion world is kind of cool the first time you play the game. Every other time, it's just annoying. Okay, first try, and it starts great with us one-shotting Houndoom. Right after is Honchkrow, and we nearly one-shot it, then it nearly one-shots us in return with Night Slash. We get some health back by hitting Focus Blast in return to finish it off, but not much. Next is Weavile though, and it outspeeds us with Night Slash to easily finish us off. Okay, well, if I can use a few rare candies, then I think I can just one-shot Honchkrow, then we're back in the fight. 4 levels later, and we're getting a one-shot on Honchkrow, so I think we stand a chance. Next is Weavile, and right away we lose most of our health to Fake Out and Night Slash, but at least we one-shot with Focus Blast, so we got some of our health back. After that is Crobat, who took us down to only 12 health off Cross Poison, before we one-shot it with Psychic, healing us back up to 30 in the process. That's still red health, I don't like how this looks. Last is Water Onix, so we nearly take it out with Psychic to heal us up to 42 health. He hits an Ice Fang to take us down to only 9, then we finish it off. We were the perfect level for this fight. I really thought I'd have to be closer to level 70 to win. Now, when I got to the Electric Gym at level 67, I ended up losing super fast to Crunch from Luxray due to getting paralyzed early in the fight. But just getting 2 more levels made the entire gym a sweep. It's crazy how much just a couple levels can do. Alright, we're going towards the end of the game now, and I'm not really sure how things are gonna go. I mean, our rival is probably a sweep, he basically has been the entire game, but the Elite Four themselves could be hard. I don't think that Bertha and Flint will be anything too crazy, but Aaron is a bug trainer, so he could have some moves that we're not ready for. Plus, there's Lucian, who's gonna resist Psychic, so maybe I'm gonna have to learn Shadow Ball for that. It's hard though, I can't really afford to give up any of my moves. Maybe it's finally time to ditch Return. We'd do more damage with Shadow Ball anyway. I'm just worried about running into something that resists the rest of our moves. Is there anything that resists Psychic, Dark, and Fighting? I mean, not off the top of my head, but I'm bad at remembering every last type effectiveness, especially when it comes to dual types. Let's just fight the rival and see how strong we are. Well, it wasn't exactly a sweep like usual, but it was very close to it. It was funny how Staraptor just kept U-turning, so I kept using Barrier every time it came out. We took some hits, but by the end of the fight, we healed right back up to full through the Shell Bell, so we had no problems. I guess our rival just can't handle a decent Psychic type. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. You know what? Our special attack is about double that of our regular attack. I think I'm gonna just replace Return with Shadow Ball already. Man, our special defense is really good too. I guess our defense is a bit low, but we have Barrier to help with that. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Bug Trainer Aaron. First try and Yanmega is a one-shot, but then Scizor nearly one-shots us right after. 2 hits of Psychic took it to an absolute sliver of health. Maybe we could beat him with the right damage range. How about I try again and use Barrier earlier in the fight? Okay, the next try was absurd. Yanmega lets us use Barrier just fine until it U-turned to Scizor. We beat it in one hit with a crit, took out Yanmega as it came back out with another crit, then Vespiquen crit us to one-shot us from full health. Between me and Aaron, that was just 3 crits in a row. Alright, that was a fluke, an anomaly. I'm gonna keep trying. A couple of tries later, and we got yet another completely insane fight. So we build up our 3 barriers on Yanmega, then take it out with Psychic, and Scizor was hardly able to hurt us, so we healed back up by taking him out. This time Vespiquen doesn't crit us, so it hardly hurts us before going down, and fourth is Drapion. I tried Psychic because I never remember that Drapion is part Dark type. It crits us with X-Scissor, and we survived with 1 health. We nailed a Focus Blast to heal back up to only 17, we got hit with a Cross Poison that took us down to 5, then we finished him off. That was incredibly close. Last is Heracross, and we just outspeed him and one-shot him. I can't believe we got crit and then landed with 1 health. Craziest Aaron fight I have ever had. Second is Ground Trainer Bertha. This was a long but pretty safe fight. See, her team pretty much only has attack moves, not many special moves. So as long as I get Barrier up early, they can't really do much to me. There's a Sandstorm going on nearly the entire fight, so we never have a ton of health. Our Shell Bell is pretty much just helping us undo the Sandstorm damage. None of them could do any serious damage without a crit thanks to the barriers, so it was a first try. Third is Fire Trainer Flint. This whole fight was just a sweep other than Flareon and Magmortar, but only the Magmortar actually hit us. Flint isn't normally a super easy member of the Elite Four. I think Lucian could be difficult though. Fourth is Psychic Trainer Lucian. First up is his Mr Mime, but we just one-shot it with Shadow Ball right away. Espeon is much tougher typically, but all it did this time was hang on with a Sliver, hit us with a Shadow Ball, heal back up with the full restore, then go down. We lost a bit of health, but we healed back up with our Shell Bell to a decent degree. Bronzong is super tanky, and it was using Calm Mind to boost its special defense even more, but we were getting really lucky with Shadow Ball dropping its special defense, so it didn't last too long. We lost a lot of health to an Earthquake though. Gallade thankfully missed a Stone Edge that no doubt would have done incredible damage, but we got the 2-shot, and last was Alakazam who outsped us and hit a weak Energy Ball as we one-shot it with Shadow Ball. Wow, that was a really easy first try on Lucian. That doesn't happen every day. If Stone Edge had hit us though, then I'm not totally sure if we would have survived. I bet we could win in a few tries with Barrier if I absolutely had to though. Finally, Pokemon Champion Cynthia. Right away, we're against Spiritomb, so the only thing that we can do is use Shadow Ball. I lucked out and dropped its special defense, so it's a 2-shot, but we lost a good chunk of our health to Dark Pulse. Second is Lucario, so I used Psychic right away for massive damage, as we just took quite a bit of damage ourselves from Stone Edge. We healed back up with a full restore, so we just hit 2 Psychics to finish him off. Next up is Garchomp though, and thanks to a berry, it won't be a 2-shot. It also took us out in 1 Dragon Rush. Do you think we could get away with building a barrier against Lucario, or will we take too much damage in the process? Well, on the next try where we got a special defense drop against Spiritomb, we used barrier against Lucario, but it backfired fast as it turns out the Lucario has Shadow Ball. We ended up taking it down, but with even less health than last time. For some reason, she sent in Melodic next, who goes down pretty easily, but not before nearly making us faint with Surf. Then, of course, Garchomp easily finished us off. I'll have to get some more levels for sure. So I try again at level 80. This was pretty interesting. We took big damage from Lucario, but it was incredibly close to being a one-shot, so the last few levels could change things. We lucked out big when Garchomp came out. Not only did it miss Dragon Rush, but we had great damage luck and actually took it out fast. Problem is, Melodic was next, and it used Mirror Coat this time, so we still went down. Alright, well, a few levels, and we can at least go into the Garchomp fight with full health. I tried more at level 83, but things went borderline identical. Lucario still gets to hit us, and we still lose to Mirror Coat, but this time we took out Garchomp despite it not missing a Dragon Rush. I'm starting to think that just being able to one-shot Lucario would make a massive difference. 2 levels later, and not only do we one-shot Lucario, but we also don't get hit by Garchomp. I thought that meant that things would go great, but even with full health, Melodic one-shots us with Mirror Coat. The way it works is it's reflecting double the damage back at us. I'm just kind of surprised I'm doing over 100 health and damage to Melodic. It's kind of a special defense tank. How am I gonna beat this thing? Use Barrier on the first turn and hope it stops using Mirror Coat right after? I'm paranoid that it's reading my moves before I do them. I know that Gen 4 is weird about that with crits and stuff. Wow, that actually worked! 3 tries later and we had another attempt where Dragon Rush missed, so we had most of our health. I just used Barrier, she failed Mirror Coat, I used Psychic, she switched to Surf. It hardly hurt us and we took her out just fine. Togekiss was next, but it was a 2-shot with Psychic, as it didn't hurt us very much with Air Slash, thanks to Barrier that we already had put up. Last is Roserade, but is part poison, so we one-shot it with Psychic. We did it! That was a really fun run. It's cool having Barrier the entire run. I'm surprised just how handy it ended up being. It made a massive difference in how much damage we took, and I had to pay a lot closer attention to what gym leaders had strong physical moves. I really hope you guys liked that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next Saturday like usual, with Pokemon Gold with only Nidorans. So that's a team run of 1 of each Nidoran. I'm pretty excited. Nidoran is an awful Pokemon, but I've been loving all the tag team runs that I've been doing, because having 2 Pokemon just gives us a lot more moves to work with. Plus, the Nidorans run in Red and Fire Red were both pretty fun, so how'd they gonna do in Gold? I don't know, let's find out next week. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments section, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. Now, I know what everyone is incredibly interested in is, does MDB still have a sore throat? A little bit. It's less sore than before, though. It's just a little bit. I think I'm like fighting some kind of illness or something. I don't know. I'm surviving on gargling salt water and having lozenges and stuff, but it's getting less scratchy by the day and less sore by the day. I'm talking a lot, so I'm sure that's not doing me any favors, but hey, it's my job. I kind of have to talk a little bit. But overall, yeah, I'm getting better. I'm sure that'll be fine. The tooth sockets thing, you remember I got some wisdom teeth taken out late last month. That's healing up pretty well, especially the left side, which I'm surprised by. I thought the left side would take longer to heal because that was the kind of weird-shaped wisdom tooth. That one was kind of crooked and everything. I thought that would cause more problems, but no, the right side is taking longer to heal than the left side, but they're both healing well. I think I'm well past the point of the possibility of getting dry socket or anything like that. So it looks like I'm healing up pretty well. I hope. I think. Oh, and I did the voiceover pretty late in the week last week, and I'm doing the voiceover very early in the week this week. So it's not like a whole week has passed by and I'm only a little bit less scratchy. It's been like 3 days or something, and I've been talking each one of those days quite a bit, so you know, it's gonna happen. Ooh, I also watched WWE Money in the Bank and NXT Heatwave. Those were quite fun, and of course I was shouting a little bit during those, so I'm sure that wasn't good for my voice, but I'm happy my boy Ethan Page won the NXT title. That was really cool to watch. I've been a huge fan of his for a good, I don't know, 5-6 years now, and he's a Hamilton boy. I used to live in Hamilton, so that's very cool to me. He's a cool dude. Talked to him a little bit once. He's very nice. I need to get back to some more work, though, because I've got to start on that Nidoran run later today. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.